Welcome back to the episode of my trading vlog, where most of the views come from returning subscribers. If that's you, hit the like button. I mean, come on, I've done a great job on Bitcoin and Playboy. Pretty good on Spy as well with the analysis. Let's get going first on Spy. We'll hit Bitcoin, Playboy, of course, AMC and GameStop. We'll touch those, always will. But I want to focus today kind of on Spy and then Playboy. You're going to see I have some chart drawings here. I left last week or a couple weeks ago, my most recent video, with a broadening top shown in blue. And we're still moving through this pattern, just sideways. We haven't had a breakout either direction yet. Bullish breakout occurs above 477.45. Bearish breakout below 466.30. That means there's a pretty big price range for a lot of uncertainty. And I would expect to see a lot of traders getting wrecked through here. The sideways grind is always really hard. Markets are kind of indecisive. We'll see what it is that sets off the market one way or the other. I couldn't really tell you what it's going to be. I have some statistics from thepatternsight.com. This is Bulkowski's website. He provides a ton of statistical data like this. It's kind of gobbledygook until you learn what it all means. And so I'm not going to go through it, but I wanted to show the kind of percentages and values that he's giving us. And on this page, he says this typically has a 60% chance of an upward breakout. And that's just because, well, generally the market breaks out bullishly. After all, it is going up and 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 up. We should never probably see the levels we saw back in 1930, of course. If you look at those values, are super low. So all the data is always going to be skewed to the upside. Nonetheless, we haven't had a breakout yet. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen. Volume is decreasing through this pattern. The MACD is starting to look a little bearish down here. You can see we've had the shorter period average, the blue line, drop below the yellow line, and the histogram is growing red to the downside. We might see correction. We could. What I really expect here is that the sideways grind between this $10 price range is going to cause the RSI to move more rapidly between overbought and oversold. It's going to be mellow for a bit. MACD might come down to neutral. It's just going to be hard. We're going to lose momentum essentially before we pick it back up again. And we'll have to see if it's the bears or the bulls that take it once it reaches a nice equilibrium. The market's been rallying pretty hard. In Elliott wave term speaks, I can make this bullish or bearish. Again, just going to be watching the chart pattern. If we do get a downward breakout from this megaphone, my price target's going to be down towards 450. And that's because it's ascending broadening wedge, which is bigger than, more encompassing than the smaller chart pattern shown in blue. And so we've reached that 475 target from the initial impulse, grinding sideways in a $10 price range, waiting for a breakout. Not much to say other than that. It's just been going sideways, which is very frustrating, I'm sure. Here we are on Bitcoin. I'm showing this on a 4-hour chart, just like I was on Spy. I watched my last video, and it was pretty spot on when it comes to the Bitcoin analysis. While I was aware that we might see the price drop, we actually found a little melt up, which is what I was expecting, and we just about reached 50K. We got to 47,600. Not too shabby. That's pretty close. At this point, we're probably seeing some topping out, a lot of volume coming in on this rejection. This is probably the signal of a continued downtrend in the works. You might be asking why, because the ETFs, probably, adoption may not be as great as people think it is. Just think about it. The fundamentals of Bitcoin will change as larger market participants begin to participate in its market. And the advent of ETFs may be not that bullish. We don't know yet. I'm going to keep watching the price as the ultimate indicator. We are definitely starting to lose some uptrends though. For instance, that one. We're also losing an internal trend line through here. After all, Bitcoin has been on an absolute rip and run, and now it's starting to come around. We didn't quite hit that bullish target at 50. That's okay. Sometimes you don't quite get to that 161.8% extension. This was a good run. It really was. It's definitely lost some steam and a lot of volumes coming in. So I would expect if we're going to be bullish even, sideways grind. Whenever I expect that, I just draw a triangle and move on. Let's go take a peek at AMC, which has been on an absolute tear to the downside. I've got a chart here that I've been kind of working on a little bit, not too much. This downtrend continues to extend. I'm still looking for 282 at the end of this thing. The RSI is deeply oversold. This is ridiculous. Look at the MACD here. It's looking a little less pronounced than it was back here, That just means that we're moving through a smaller price range in general. Volume is surging through here. This is what really catches my eye, is all this volume, but that makes sense, I guess, given that there was a lot of dilution, so there's more shares on the market. You can see we're still plummeting downward. We passed that 516 level, which was the 50% extension of wave A here. This would be a good spot for bullish reversal if it were to occur, but price plunged through it, which is what I was saying last time. And so this downtrend continues. There's still no end in sight here. There really isn't. Looking at GameStop, I was saying in my last video, there's a small chance that this is actually a leading diagonal triangle and that this will be bullish after we see the end of the current downtrend. The current downtrend is pretty fierce. That is a straight line run heading to the downside. Volume, of course, is kind of dropping off as we go through here, and that's typically how we see selling volume, the lack of buying. We're starting to get bullish divergences forming in the RSI should the price decide to turn around and break the current downtrend. But for right now, it just looks pretty bearish, just like AMC does. It's interesting to see these stocks move this far after the big sneeze in, what was that, 2020? What a thing. Wow. Anyway. So yeah, not much to say here. Just like AMC, it looks like it's going down. Wait to look for a sign of reversal, I suppose, if you're bullish here. Otherwise, it looks like we're going to go for a bottom test towards 1192. Here's my current Elliott wave count on Playboy. This might not make a whole lot of sense to a lot of people, and that's okay. I'm going to walk through it a little bit, but not too much. Basically, what I'm looking for are repeating waves of A, B, and C, reiterating themselves in larger price swings, and that's exactly what we've been seeing since the beginning. I have a count A, B, and C, a corrective wave right through here, another A, B, and C, which peaked out at about $1.50, and now we're finding ourselves in a horizontal grind. Price bounced off of 107. If you watched my last Playboy video, the price was up at 147, and I said we could get down all the way to $1 in a hurry. The next hour that happened, price plunged. I had a buy order down here, fill, which was fantastic because price came up. And so since then, I've recently taken profits. The price then fell during the day, and it's come up a little bit in after-hour trading. We'll see if that holds. What I'm actually expecting is a little more sideways grind to the downside. I'm looking for the completion of some sort of corrective pattern. If this is going to be continuing upward, I would expect a triangle here to form as wave B, and then we get another set of 3 waves to take us much higher. If we can get above 150, the price targets start to get a little crazy because we start to use the entire rally up until this point, and we're going to use the retracement all the way down to $1.03, which was the low, and we start looking at price targets at 206 or 270, in which case we're going to start seeing calls on the options chain start running into the money, which is going to be a game changer in terms of momentum, I think. Again, I think this is minor wave A that we've just completed. Got 3 sets of C here. Looking for 5 waves of correction at the sub-minuet degree, and that will be complete a corrective cycle. If price then bounces back up and breaks above 150, we could see some spectacular things. I'm going to call them fireworks. Let's go bullish continuation. So at this point, I'm holding a bunch of calls because that's my insurance against a squeeze, should there be one. I'm not holding very many shares currently. I've kind of cashed out for the most part, and I kind of want to wait and see what happens. I'll be placing open buy orders down here towards 103, probably at that 107 area, in case we do get that big flash dump before we see another big pop. But again, expecting sideways grind. Thus far, this has been a fantastic count. It served me well. It has completed it, so we're kind of guessing here, but I'm forecasting correction to the side. You can see MACD here, at least on the 1 hour, is starting to look like it could swoop up higher. Let's talk about volume too while we're here. Volume is actually increasing as price is rising, which is encouraging, and trading is increasing as we're watching the price gain momentum. It's gaining momentum and it's going up, which is good. Now, the 4 hour MACD here is looking a little bearish, like it could come down. We aren't below 50 yet on the RSI, and you can see that's kind of where it's been turning back up, so it's been oscillating bullishly. We've got a series of bearish divergences here at this time frame. Again, if that breaks, we're going to be going up much higher, new impulse on a higher wave degree, that being the minor wave degree, which should take us to 270, which is also exciting. We look at the daily time frame, and the count starts to get a little cluttery. We can see that the RSI here is coming down below overbought finally. We still haven't seen, though, a bearish divergence from this most recent peak, which we could see. And again, the biggest moves happen while the price is oscillating up here in this overbought area. The MACD here is looking a little bearish, right? It's looking a little bearish, and some sideways grind could help resolve this a little bit. I mean, this is looking wild. But honestly, let's go back over here, and yeah, through this downtrend, you saw the MACD start to close range between its long and shorter averages, and just continue. We could be seeing something similar on this side, but bullishly. Anyway, so that's all I got for today. Happy trading.